Yeah, I mean, Benny, you and I don't necessarily agree about this, but I think we could probably all agree about Trump trying to get peace is a good thing. I like to see an American president who pursues peace, not war. I also think he's being pragmatic about how he deals with the people in his own side, particularly the MAGA support that he has, who are very anti this, of continued support for Ukraine, that if there's a business arrangement to be done that involves the minerals, which looks like you're getting a quid pro quo, that it's an easier sell to probably his base, which I can get that. And in return, Ukraine's going to want America to be part of a security guarantee to make sure if they do this deal on the current geographic lines, Putin won't come and attack them again. I mean, how do you feel about the way I've characterized that?
All right, folks, buckle up. Benny's about to walk into Lion's Den, aka Piers Morgan's show, to dismantle some seriously wobbly arguments and notion of Piers Morgan, who's the king of double standards. He's about to get a taste of his own medicine as Benny calls him out on flip-flopping takes, from canceling elections to shady mineral deals of Ukraine. Will Piers survive the takedown, or will he be left scrambling like a politician at a press conference? Stick around, because this is one showdown you don't want to miss.
Here's things we should hate. People who cancel elections, right? People who lock up journalists, people who kill journalists, people who forcibly conscript their own population.
You're talking about Putin.
People who
is that Vladimir Putin you're talking about?
Who shut down churches, right?
Is that Vladimir Putin you're talking about?
Piers, see, this is the difference between me and the homie you just had on here. I think Putin's a scumbag dictator. I'm not here to argue for Putin, but I ain't here to argue for Zelensky either. One wrong doesn't make a right. One right doesn't make it. Just because it's like one guy's a scumbag doesn't mean you have a right to also behave exactly like a dictator, which is what Zelensky's done. Cancel What happened to the elections, Piers? Why did Zelensky cancel the election?
I'll tell you what happened. Benny, hang on. Time out, Benny, hang on. Time out.
Forcibly
you asked me a question.
You asked me a
question. You asked me a question.
How can you do it?
Hang on.
It's a dictator.
You asked me a question. You asked me a question. Let me reply. Why did he cancel the election? Well, it could be something to do with the fact that Ukraine is under martial law, which specifically under their constitution prevents him from having an election. Why are they under martial law? Because they're actually at war. Secondly, 6 million Ukrainians left the country as refugees. How are they going to vote in a free and fair election? You then have all the people who are serving in the military on the front line. How are they going to vote? You have 20% of the country under current illegal occupation by the Russians. How are they going to vote in a fair and free election? There's 3.5 million of them there in that 20% region. So when you add it all together, how on earth are you going to have a free and fair election in Ukraine right now? And why would you possibly use that? I'll give you an analogy. In 1935, there was a UK general election. Do you know when the next one was after that? 1945, right towards the end of the war, when we'd already had VE Day and there was just the Japan element to be dealt with. And the reason we didn't have one throughout World War II was because Winston Churchill knew it couldn't be a free and fair election, which would represent the wishes of the people, because most of them couldn't vote. And so there's a precedent for that. America, I think outside of the Civil War and one or two other occasions, America's never had a situation where there's been actual warfare on American soil to prohibit an American election taking place. So why would you expect Ukraine to have an election?
America had elections.
New York City actually delayed its mayoral election.
America had elections in World War II, but wasn't having a war on its soil in World War II.
In New York City, we delayed our mayoral elections after 9/11.
Okay, but I'm talking about a national election.
I'm saying that these are all of that. America is the funder of this war, and dare I say, the reason the war started in the first place with the fake Maidan Revolution coup that was totally sponsored by America, Victoria Nuland and John McCain cheersing, having champagne toast as they oversaw it there. Somebody please explain that. Victoria Nuland on tape picking the new Ukrainian cabinet. So, yeah, let's just say that this country is pretty important when it comes to this war, and that Ukraine is effectively a vassal state of the American State Department. I don't like that. I don't want that to be the case. But given the fact that we're funding the war and we're probably the reason why it started in the first place, in part, you would assume that American democracy would be something that we'd be fighting for, because, you know, there's Ukrainian flags all over American neighborhoods, at least in dark blue areas where the smooth brains live. And when these people put up a Ukrainian flag, they assume that they're getting American democracy. That's what they assume. I'm getting American democracy. And America doesn't just cancel elections because of emergencies. That doesn't happen in this nation.
Well, you just heard from Sam that the New York election.
We don't close down churches.
Hang on. You just
we
heard.
don't close down churches.
You just heard from
lock up
Sam.
journalists.
Hang on, Benny.
As a
You
rule,
just heard from
right?
Sam the New York mayoral election was delayed because of the pandemic. So there's an example.
So
You do.
You know,
9/11.
After 9/11, I'm sorry. After 9/11.
Final thing I'll say on this, and it's a very important point, is that we've been lied to, right? You get lied to that war is about one side being all the devils and one side being the angels.
I agree with
and
that.
The truth about war, Piers, is that most of the time, both sides are devils.
I agree.
And
Well,
the
I
best
don't think
you can
both
ask
sides.
for-
Oh, no. I don't think
The best you can ask for is an ugly peace instead of a hot, bloody war. And yes, I agree with you, my brother from another mother across the pond. I agree with you, Piers, that the killing should end and the dying should end.
Okay. Gillian?
I say Zelensky is a dictator.
He's not. Putin's a dictator. But Gillian, final word to you.
Maybe they're both dictators.
Okay, if I could put on my tin hat and wrap myself in tinfoil, being as sober and judicial as possible, I follow the money here. So yes, I agree with you. Putin is a really bad guy, but it obviously takes two or more than two. And if you follow the money, when you hear out of Zelensky's own mouth, it's like, oh, I didn't take money. I got the money in the form of weapons. Well, who got rich off the weapons? Defense contractors. Okay, then what assets did Ukraine have? Well, they had the breadbasket, which was farming land second only to Iowa across the globe. It was one of their top resources. And then in 2021, there was land market reform from financial pressures due to global financial institutions forcing them to open up that land to, guess who? Cargill, ADM, so on and so forth. So they were able to capture that resource. And then what did they have left? They had minerals left. So now Putin gets to keep, I think he has 2 territories where he'll probably hold on to those minerals. And now we're going at Sam saying there's no value. It certainly doesn't seem like the case. I haven't heard that, but I'm not an expert in this. And now we're grabbing some of those minerals. And then guess who gets to rebuild all of it? BlackRock and JP Morgan Chase. So I do not think it's like, it's Zelensky, it's Putin. I think it's far bigger than that. And please feel free to blow holes in my conspiracy theory, but that's just how it looks to me.
You know what I've learned over the years, Gillian, is that a lot of conspiracy theories end up turning out to be true.
Alright, let's wrap this up with a bang. Piers Morgan might have a polished studio and his smooth British charm, but when it comes to this debate, Benny absolutely schooled him. Why? 2 simple reasons. First, Benny called out Piers' glaring double standard. How can you slam Putin for being a dictator while giving Zelensky a free pass for canceling elections and cracking down on dissent? Secondly, Benny followed the money, exposing the messy web of defense contractors, land grabs, and mineral deals that make this war far more about profit than principles. Piers might want to paint Zelensky as the hero, but Benny reminded us that in a war, there are rarely clean hands, just dirty deals. So was Piers correct for favoring Zelensky? Not even close. Benny came, saw, and conquered. Well, I mean, do you think Piers was being hypocritical? Or was Benny just spitting facts? Let me know down in the comments, because this debate is far from over. And hey, if you want more Fury takes and no holds barred discussion, check out these 2 videos. Don't forget to smash that like button, share this with someone who loves a good debate, and hit subscribe so you never miss the next showdown. Let's keep this conversation going.